walking through, excuse me, we're walking through the, which was once known as the town of Beresford. It was a riverboat landing on Lake Beresford off of the St. Johns River. So as you came south of Crow's Bluff, you would cut east into Lake Beresford, and then on the eastern shore of Lake Beresford, centrally located on the eastern shore, was the community of Beresford. Eventually it fell into history. One of those things that happens sometimes with smaller waterfront communities, which back in the day were out in the wilderness, and then with the coming of the railroads in the late 1800s, early 1900s, it put a hurting on the riverboat industry. Literally put them out of business. I'm stopping every so often because once in a while you find some interesting stuff laying on the road. Over the many decades and all, them moving rock around, and back in the early days they used to dig up Indian midden, which were like shell mounds that were the remains of everything that came from the Indian community in this part of Florida. They sort of heaved it into a big garbage pile. Interestingly enough, most of the items are smaller than a thumbnail in size, down to like a pinky nail. And they did pretty good sized mountains of those. So Beresford got absorbed into DeLand in the mid-early 1900s. Good evening. And basically the community of Beresford fell out of existence. And so it's still nice to be able to find parts of town that haven't fallen to the developers, but it's just a matter of time. So we're going to continue on our walk here. We're heading north right now, so we're paralleling the lake shore, and we're also paralleling the railroad. It's kind of ironic that a lot of places the railroads followed the same route that the riverboats did, and yet they put them out of business. So what we're going to do now is we're going to spin here, and we're facing east. And you notice, like back in the trees here, there's a kind of an unusual cluster of palms. Well, this is the site of that old two-story home. One of the, which I was made to understand at one time, it was one of the oldest homes in western Volusia. There goes a mated pair of pileated woodpeckers just flew by in the sky. I don't know if I caught them on camera or not, but we're going to carefully ease our way back in here. And I say carefully because this kind of area draws pigs and snakes. So I need to find a safe way to weave into where I want to get to. I'm going to cut up through here. I'm going to try to find if there's anything left of the home that was here. So, kind of look, the trees are making a walkway. They're kind of like left and right. So we're going to follow this little walkway that somebody laid out probably 140 years ago. Let's cut over to the right here. I know the house is around here somewhere. There's a pipe sticking out of the ground right there. Maybe that had to have something to do with the house. I'm sure back in these trees there's got to be something. I see something laying on the ground back there. Could be somebody might have been camping back in there and left some tool or something back in there. Oh, that's interesting. There's a utility wire right there, but I do know that they were rerouting the lines in this area. And they may have rerouted them onto this property. Okay, so now we're coming into like a nice clearing, which would have been beautiful for a house, and I'm starting to see fragments of stuff laying around. I know what it is. It's some kind of porcelain, maybe bathroom. It's definitely porcelain. I could definitely see a house sitting right here. And there we go. There's a foundation right there. And it's concrete, so definitely 100% that was an add-on. It's probably a garage they added on much later, because the original house was sitting up off the ground. The wood house probably sitting on brick, red brick maybe. This would have been built before the popular use of sand brick, but got an interesting thing right here. This is a cistern. And, they put a cover over it to keep people from falling in, but out in the middle, carefully, I'm going to work my way over here. Out in the middle here. I don't know if I can get the camera down in there or not. Yeah, it's going to be hard, but there's a 3-foot brick circle hiding up underneath it here that the cistern is, oh, here we go. Here's a loose piece. So you can kind of see. Here's the back wall. Yeah. I'm sure it's all filled up with all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah. This commands some exploration. I'll bring tools and redo the thing at the same time. That'll be my ploy. But this is very cool. I'm gonna cover this back up again. So nobody just walks along and falls in it. I saw some cool fragments of stuff. There's a pottery. There's another piece of pottery. It's got it looks like silver on it. Definitely gonna come back here and there's a piece of glass. Definitely I come back and do some more exploring. Take my little fragment. So this one's pretty. I always like when I find stuff that's got little designs in it. And you sit down at dinner, you have this beautiful floral design and flowers on your table and warm Florida breeze and birds are chirping. It's quite the life back then. Nice green glass fragment right there. So, there was a house here, and then a tornado came through and it was gone. So, we're here in Beresford, which is now DeLand proper. Kind of cool sometimes is that the wildlife will stir stuff up. Like right there, that's the corner piece from a foot locker or a trunk. You know, that's the when they slam the thing around, it would protect the corners of your foot locker. It's a cool little find. Laying up on the ground here. Chances are it's something that got turned up by an animal. Even the ants and the moles turn stuff up. And I see all kinds of fragments. Hard saying what all of it is. Some of it's rock, some of it's plaster. House back then would have had, where today we have drywall. You could sort of call their walls wet walls because they would put up an oak slat board, kind of like a real like crepe material. And then they would slap on coats of plaster of Paris. Good old plaster of Paris. Yeah, there's an old piece of a really, really old bottle, it looks like. Oh no, actually it's a piece of brass. Right by Gulper tortoise hole. And Gulpy probably pushed it up. I thank Gulpy, and I'll pick it up. And some other stuff here. Piece of nylon and some kind of reducer or plumbing. It's pretty old. Nowadays this would be plastic, you know, like that gray or white PVC vinyl. Break it while you're trying to tighten it up type of plastic. That's, okay. 1970s or 80s, which should be found around the property, because remember, it was in the 2000s that the tornado hit. So, you know, they would have bought new stuff at some point. Somebody would have. I need to get my my dig claw out so I'm not reaching down at any ants. It's one of my tools that I like to work with. I can go down lightly in layers without breaking things. A piece of copper tubing. And I take all of this stuff home. Little pieces of copper like that. I'm one of the people that's got a little library out in the front yard, and also I put food, sundries, and recyclables and plants and all kinds of things just to give back to the community. Here's a nice little fragment right there. It's got some gold on it too. See it? Nice and shiny. Some flowers. People that homesteaded here when it was the town of Beresford, you know, they've lived a rough life, but, you know, tried to make it as comfortable and homey as possible. And managed to do it for, I believe, over 100 years on this spot before Mother Nature took the house down. I expect there's probably a lot of stuff to be found, so I'm gonna come back and work this area a little more. Okay, I remember right here on this spot was a cabin. And I'm sure if I look hard enough, there it is. There it is. I'm guessing that was the fireplace. So this spot definitely is going to command a closer investigation. Yeah, I can see the end of the wall right there. Goes all the way out there. I can see it through the trees right there. And then I'm scratching it right there. It's still going now. It's going out a good clip. Make it all the way out into there. But this definitely calls for some more investigation. How beautiful it is here. This is cool. Got these flowers growing right here. They're beautiful. A whole group of them. And then golfer tortoise gets these at his front door, her front door. How cool is that? So we're gonna continue back on our hike through what we just found. Piece of PVC, nothing. I found a bunch of nothing. 100 years from now, somebody's going to pick that up, and they're definitely going to be perplexed. So this was the site of a beautiful home here in the which was once known as the community of Beresford. I don't know if it took the name of the lake or the lake took the name of the community. Found me a Nesco clamp. Nice. Nice thing about when you go for walks, you'd be surprised how much stuff you find laying around. I found enough to turn it into a micro business. And I tell you what, it's one heck of a hobby. It's a hobby. You get to meet people. Sometimes people are into the same thing. They want to go on exploration or metal detect or dig. Sometimes they just go scouting historical sites. So the actual town of Beresford really didn't have many roads. And we're sort of at the intersection of which would have been the main roads back then. Carefully step out here. So we're looking at Lake Beresford right now. And where the riverboat landing was, and we just came off of Alexander, and then the Beresford that goes north and south turns into an east-west Beresford Road this way, and starts heading out of the community of Beresford, and eventually I have to put the phone down here a minute and tie a shoelace and then commence with keeping the mood, because it's getting on dusk, and dusk down by the waterfront, and high humidity day, and it's gonna bring the Florida killer birds out. The good old mosquito. And as most tropical climates, we kind of get some really, really wicked swarms certain times of the year. So I have to be careful here. It's not a main road, but it kind of has the country highway look, and some people drive it like the country highway. So as we're walking out of Beresford heading east, we're slowly coming up a ridge, and all this land around here at one time was just orange grove after orange grove. Pretty much the main industry in the until the Great Freeze came in the late 1800s was oranges. Some tourism, but mostly oranges. You know, they also throughout this part of Florida grew other things. They grew plants for making ink, rice, pineapple. South of Lake Monroe was a huge celery business. There goes one of the people driving this like they're on a country road. I think the speed limit is only 30 or 35, but people tend to bust 50 and 60. Yeah. As long as they don't hurt anybody else or any wildlife, I say drive it like you stole it. This is all, excuse me, this is all nice and thick. You know, it's kind of land's been in this same family forever. Incidentally, since we left that homestead property of the home that got destroyed by the tornado, this was all of their land, and we're still walking our way past it here. There's a nice live oak tree. A really pretty canopy, and then if you look right there, there's some oranges that are still growing. The problem is oranges being a grafted fruit means that they're grafted on a different type of tree. Tend to go kind of like, I think the term's called woody. So as the groves get, let me go back to this tree. That is a beautiful tree. So that tree is a good, maybe 18, 22 feet in circumference. Yeah, well, you know, that one has been there a long time. It's definitely goes back to the early days of the community. It's got a little window in it. The tree's got a window. See if I can get a better view of it. There it is. There it is right there. Kind of cool. Let's get back to this thing with the oranges. So I'm going to try to break this one open. And usually what happens is they get really seedy, and the juice is like battery acid. And that's what this one is. But, you know, there was still an industry to be had on this kind of orange. you know, for hand cleaners and things like that. But let's get back on our hike here. So again, we're still heading out of town from the original community of Beresford. Sort of heading in the, I'm gonna duck off and just peek into the trees. Sometimes I'll do that, and you make these amazing little discoveries, like you find little shacks and shanties, or like all kinds of cool little items hanging out in the woods. You don't know if you don't go. It's a little rule of thumb that I live by. So I've been able to explore a lot of places around the country and made some very, very amazing discoveries over my lifetime thus far. Some bottles back in here, but a lot of times you get this stuff. It's all current bottles. The country road. People driving down, whipping stuff out the window all the time. And it's sort of like, there's a thing I refer to as curve and bridge syndrome. Like people feel really obligated to unload the garbage as they're going over a bridge, or as they're busting around a curve, the passengers heaving stuff out the window of the vehicle. And they've been doing that as long as they've been driving cars. And as long as they've been riding horses, I'm sure they were throwing stuff off the side of the horse. And I'm gonna take a detour here real fast, because I always enjoy when people have animals. This is one tall guy right there. I ain't kidding you either. He's pushing 6 foot tall. That's one big boy. Look at him. He's showing off. He's like, look at me, I got 2 women. I got 2, one on the side, and an egret. I'm bad. Yep, he's got himself 2 girls. That's beautiful. So, what our walk was about, and I need to hurry and get across the road here, is that I wanted to walk up to the historic cemetery, Beresford Cemetery. And that's what this is right here. And this has got history all the way back to the founding fathers, I presume, of Lake Beresford. You know that there's some older graves up in here. There's like wood. Sort of got toppled. Let's saw a lot of damage during the tornadoes. When the tornado came through, it came up over the, good, how you doing? The tornado came up off of the landing, and like I said earlier, jumped the first home, and then the whole time we were walking from the home site to the cemetery, it jumped over that woods that we were passing by, and it came down and just like knocked all the stones over at this cemetery. So let's see if we can find anybody with notable. Hey, look, it's Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk. That's Vincent. Check it out. 1885, September 1885. Died in DeLand, and then they brought him over here to Beresford. Let's get some wildflowers growing around the base of his stone. There's an Anna. There's a infantry. There's a baby. There's another baby. These people lost two children in a row. That'd be hard. It was a hard life here back then. There's no cakewalk. Union and Confederate are buried in the same cemetery. I mean, that strikes a message of just how close to home the Civil War affected people's lives. I mean, you had like brothers against brothers, and against fathers and uncles. And here's some milkweed. Hasn't quite opened up yet. When it does, it's beautiful. There's a bunch of stars. Look like those are trying to break open down there. The first one is actually open. I think it's in the milkweed family. I'm sure one of my peeps will be able to identify it. So we're gonna keep moving on here. Here's a very familiar stone right here. This is the Woodman of the World Memorial Stone. You see this a lot in the older cemeteries, and you see it's logs. Of course, they're the woodmen. You know, so a lot of them were able, with the having joined the association, they must have gotten some kind of deal on getting their grave markers as cement logs. They're very robust. Here's another stone that looks almost exactly the same as Kirk's, Captain Kirk's, and it's Captain John Stewart. There's a gated section of the cemetery behind an iron gate. And, I don't know. It must be a. Oop, I gotta back up here. I just walk face into a golden orb weaver's web. If you know anything about those, they'll stop you. You definitely don't want to get a mouthful of the web or a mouthful of the spider. So what's going on here? Sim Sparkman. I can't even see anymore. There's one right there. Broken. Nothing on it. Gotta suspect that there's gotta be more. There's two graves in here. There's another one right there. It's completely sunken down, and I mean like 3 feet or more. I can feel it wiggling down there. That baby's down there a country mile. I have to find a group to do a service project and clean that up a little bit. So that just about ends our tour of the community of Beresford, Florida. Thank you for watching.